Alright, I should be live. I'm going to try and get the link and I'll share it, and then I can start once I've got that. Yep, you can probably hear a double of me. Very quietly though. Alright. I'm just gonna drop this in my Discord and I can get started. Okay, this is a surprise stream, no one knows I'm doing it. So, I am working on an MMO, I guess. I did a playtest earlier, was it 2 days ago? People thought it was cool, so it's time to actually add stuff to do. At the moment you can just kind of walk around in a randomly generated world and then go out to, you can go to other randomly generated worlds. Hold on, I cannot hear myself over my music, which is making it very hard to talk. Hold on, let me see if I can find the hub. But like the part of the game I'm in right now, this is like fully multiplayer. I can connect another client and see someone else running around. So I can warp, go to a different place. You can actually, it probably still has the same locations. So I can see who discovered this. This is DaFluffyPotato with an I. That's not me actually. This one is me. This one's me. This is some guy from a Discord server. There's just a bunch of people that from the playtest earlier in here. About 3 of these are me, I think. But yeah, for example, I can warp to the next world and explore it. Let me see if I can find the hub again. I'll get to coding once I find it. But yeah, today I'm hoping to add better movement mechanics, because right now you can just do this, because otherwise you could get stuck in a pit and actually just be stuck. So I want to make it so you can properly move around. This is a dead end. But I don't want you to be able to infinitely jump. The idea is to just kind of give people wall jumps in a way where there's kind of a cooldown on it, but you can stick to a wall so that you can't abuse it too much in combat, but you can use it to get around pretty much outside of combat. Oh, whoa, what was that? I just saw my connection dropped. I don't know why. Interesting. I actually just lost internet there. I think it was just brief, but because of the way I'm connected to my server, like the actual server shut down because I was running it in an instance of the terminal that was kind of run through SSH. So as soon as I disconnected, it shut down that terminal and it shut down my server. So even though like my game tried to reconnect a bunch of times and it couldn't. So I'm gonna go and restart the server. That's an oofy. Oh, oof. I'll read chat in a moment. I just want to fix this. What did I call this folder? Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. You guys cannot see what I'm doing. I have this very intentionally off screen. This stream's tricky because I have to put all this. I normally have 2 monitors for my streaming stuff, and now I only have 1 because I need 1 off-screen monitor to do things that I don't want to show on the screen. So, oh, that should. What? Oh, no, that's not right. Here we go. Enter the database password. Okay. So now I should be able to restart it again. Alright, and I'm back. Cool. Hold on, let me get the pop-out chat so I can see this better. Do I know any other languages beside Python? I know, like, several. I just don't like to use them. Will I make multiplayer tutorials for Pygame? Maybe. I don't want to do that until I have a very solid, well, like, not just understanding, but just, like, background in doing it. If I haven't done something decent scale, I don't think I should be teaching the subject. But I wrote my own networking library on top of the Python sockets library, and it works with JSON on TCP, so it's good for certain types of stuff. Like, for example, this is going to be like a PVE MMO. I don't want to do PvP because the netcode's TCP, which doesn't do well with player-to-player combat because it's too it needs to be too low latency. Yeah, so I can teach like certain types of multiplayer stuff, definitely. So like turn-based games, for example, would be super easy to teach, but the more complex stuff, I'm not quite comfortable teaching yet, just because I haven't released anything. But yeah, all my audience is on YouTube, so there's no reason for me to stream on Twitch, really. I mean, there is reason. I would probably make more money, but that's not my interest. Alright. So I'm gonna go to the hub again. Because I forgot to do the spinny thing, I think. Maybe I forgot to spin it? I don't remember. But I might as well. Just for people coming in at the beginning of the stream. This is not the correct way. I got a little bit lost. Hold up. Where am I? I'm... What? Is this... Wait. This should take me there. Whatever. Alright. Yeah, I could spin it like this. I spent a while doing some 3D math, which was a little bit obnoxious. I was learning about quaternions, and it was giving me a headache. Turns out the reason it was giving me a headache was partially because my rendering code was incorrect and it was interpreting the quaternions incorrectly. Yeah. Okay, this is the map for the world. You can warp between different worlds, and the idea is that each world is kind of like a dungeon, essentially. What is my favorite fish? Fatty tuna. Am I continuing development with the other game I'm working on? I am. But, okay, so first of all, this MMO is like a side project. I just kind of do it whenever I feel like it. It's more for fun. I'm working on both Vagrant and another game. So Vagrant's my bigger project right now, which is funny because Vagrant was originally supposed to be a smaller project, but it kind of grew. And then I have another project that is supposed to be a bit smaller that I'm hoping to get out this year. But Vagrant was looking like it's going to be a multi-year project. I mean, it's already a multi-year project, so, yeah. But I have to work on the other project, which is an isometric game, because I needed more experience with isometric stuff, because I'm working on a course. So, yeah, I was just kind of getting two things done in one shot with that game. And, so that's my primary focus at the moment. This is my for fun project. It's also probably more interesting for people to watch because, I don't know, MMO in Python is unusual. Yeah. Hello, Jet. Oh, thanks for the £5. Puffin Dev. Thank you. So how do I do my avatar? It's just like you do the normal 3D math and then you just render a polygon instead of rasterizing. Anyways, time to actually get through this to-do list, hopefully. My throat's a bit there. So, wall sticking and jumping. This will be interesting. I think I'll do it mechanically first, and then I'll add the visual side of things. So, funny enough, the way I wrote this, whatever animation state the player is in, I believe is sent over to the server and the other players can see it. So I don't really have to even think that hard about how I handle the animations. I just switch the animation state and it gets sent. And then like all the positions and stuff get interpolated, and which is nice. You can get some weird visual effects in some cases with jerky movement, but for the most part it works pretty well. Let me see if I can find the part where it does that. So it should be in networking. So networking, if I go over to, here it is. This is where it sends all the information. So if I go, it sends the private user ID, which is how the server knows that it's me. So I send a position. I guess motion of some kind. That's interesting. Oh, no, I think this is just like previous positions or something. I can't remember what this is. I guess I can look. If I go to, where's, oh, no, never mind. It's velocity. This is actually here because it's used for determining whether or not the player should be facing right or left. And it can be used for some other random things, but it's just kind of a little bit of extra information that's useful. And here's the part where it sends the animation ID. So it sends that, like, what is this, 20 times a second for other players to see. And then it also timestamps it so that it can be lined up for the other players, which is nice. Remember not to leak my IP? I don't think that it can, okay, it's on my other window, but hopefully I don't leak that. Wait, actually, let me see if it has it. No, it actually doesn't have it, because so the way my server is set up, I have a proxy layer. I'm using Nginx because it's my DaFluffyPotato.com website. And it's just standard to have a proxy layer for I'm not sure exactly what the purpose is. I think part of it is it works better with Flask. It manages the connections to the server a bit better than other alternatives, I think. But anyways, anything networking wise that goes to my server has to go through the proxy layer, and that includes the MMO server, which means that to the MMO server, it looks like all of the connections are coming from the local host, so 127.0.0.1. So my IP address is not actually there, and it's funny because I do have it printing out like the IP addresses and stuff, but it's all local. Speaking of which, I'm very curious because I was using, I think I might have the original IP addresses somewhere, and I'm curious to see this. Hold on. I hashed the IP addresses, and I never actually checked to see if they're unique or not, or if it took the local host. I might have my proxy layer forwarding the IP addresses, but I'm gonna log into my MongoDB thing. I think I had it so the proxy layer forwards the IP addresses, but it doesn't show up in the same spot, so my client doesn't really see it as that. So I'm about to find out. Hold on. So if I go to users, I can see who registered each user. Yes, okay. So for user registration, it does actually have a unique identifier for each IP address, which means that I was forwarding the IP addresses, but it's not visible in the console here. And the default IP address that the server sees is not the actual IP address, it's just localhost. Just weird. But good for me, so I won't accidentally dox myself. Although, actually, when I pulled up the database there in the other window, it technically had my name on it. Am I thinking of setting up a server? I already have a server. It's running right now. For those of you that were in the playtest, you could technically connect right now, which would be funny, but I mean, it doesn't really mess with me too much. You could connect and mess around if you want, for those of you that have the client from the playtest. Yeah. The thing is, though, is as I update the server while I'm working on this update, things are gonna get a little bit funky. Actually, I think for the most part it should run the same, unless I change what some of the parameters for the different requests are. So, like, for example, if I go over to, where is it? Networking, here it is, I think. So there's a bunch of functions laid out for different things that can be requested. For the most part, I just kind of add new different types of requests the client can make, and the existing ones mostly to stay the same. Yeah. So this right here is the what the client does in response to every single request I make. So it makes a request, which is, like, I specifically have to tell it to do that, and then the server has specific responses for certain types of requests, and then it sends those responses back to the client, and the client, this is where I have it listing what it should do when it gets each one of those responses. So, like, for example, if I made a request to sync the time, and it receives the response of the time from the server, and tells the client, well, the client's local data object to resync the time based on the time received from the server. So I have this very, very convenient way for handling different types of requests, and it's all in JSON as well. So it's very quick to develop with. Why do I use Atom over VS Code or NeoVim? It's not slow for me. It runs. Actually, isn't VS Code famous for taking a while to start up? Atom started up pretty quickly, but I have a decent computer, so it doesn't cause any problems. I should probably pull up Task Manager. So let's see here. Yeah, so I have Atom right here. 0% CPU usage, 110 megabytes of RAM. I mean, if you're really tight on RAM, maybe it could be a problem, but for me it's fine. I think the bigger thing is that I'm running tab 9, which might use some RAM somewhere else. I'm not sure where that falls under, but whatever. Runs fine for me. So, but yeah, I've messed around with the idea of doing MMOs in the past, and so I have some experience in the area. I've done multiplayer stuff that was like kind of supposed to be an MMO. I got pretty far. I just kind of got bored, and I'm kind of using the same idea but writing it better. And yeah, it's for fun again, which basically means there's a decent chance I won't finish it, but. And I mean, I guess you don't finish an MMO anyways, but also the thing is, wait, did someone else just connect? No, they didn't. The thing with what I'm working on here is that I'm not expecting a ton of players. From a game design perspective and the code perspective, it's designed so it can scale it up. So I have two options. I can set up like a ton of servers so people can join different servers, and each server could have maybe like 100 people on it or whatever. The other option is I could have one server, which is one of the cool things about the way I designed this game. I can have one server that's for like the entire, like whoever plays the game, everyone's on the same server, which is very unusual for an MMO, especially because normally servers have kind of localized servers to begin with. So like, you'll see like a North America server, a European server, an Asia server. But the way I'm designing this game, I'm hoping to be able to get away with just one server for everyone, and that's actually kind of convenient for me because my server's in Atlanta, Georgia, which is not where I am, but it's in Georgia, like the US state, not the country. And a lot of people playing this game, presumably, because most I'm assuming it's mostly my viewers are going to play this, but the people playing it are all over the place. I did the play test, and I think almost every single person was from a different country. Yeah, I'm designing to try to make it so that I can have everyone on the same server. But the idea is that a server can run multiple different individual worlds, and the hold on. Yeah, the idea is that a server can run multiple different worlds, and it's just like the individual servers are split up, and the players will connect between the different servers as they swap between worlds, and it'll just be like certain worlds will be allocated to individual servers, and it'll just kind of balance itself out. It's a lot of work to set up, but I can do that if the player base gets large enough. But right now I'm just planning for what, maybe 10 players online average, something like that. The server's being set up so it can handle over 100 probably on just one server, which I'm paying like what, $10 a month for. If I need to get bigger, I'm going to have to add some kind of monetization scheme to make money, but for the time being I'm just trying to make something where I can have maybe 100 people on max. And I mean, I've already tested with over 10, but I've looked at the performance. It should be able to run fine with 100. But that's my goal. So it's not like an MMO in the sense that I'm expecting to have tens of thousands of people on at once. And what I will do is I will be like set it up so if too many people are online, it won't let more people log in. So that I don't have to worry about things just absolutely breaking because too many people join. Will I make an anti-cheat? Sort of. So I'm not too concerned about cheaters because it's PVE, which means player versus environment, instead of player versus player. So players are working together to fight just like enemies and stuff and bosses and whatnot. So it's more along the lines of a co-op MMO. And cheating doesn't cause as much of an issue for other players in this type of game structure, I guess, or game design. It's more of just kind of annoying to see someone get a huge advantage, but I am going to have some levels of anti-cheat, like mainly just like movement and damage type stuff. Like it's probably going to be more along the lines of rate limits. For now, I'm not too worried about implementing anti-cheat. I'm going to work on that mostly later, but I'm designing the game in such a way that it's not going to be a whole lot of work to implement. And the anti-cheat's just supposed to be there to prevent people from doing stuff that's completely absurd. You will be able to theoretically cheat for small advantages, although I do plan on having a player reporting system so those people can get banned. But if you cheat, you get a small advantage, and it doesn't hurt other players so much. It just kind of ruins the experience for yourself. So there's a lot of stuff in the design of this game where I'm just trying to make it as feasible as possible. And it's also just kind of the type of game I want to make, so yeah. Yes, I have used Vim and NeoVim. I used it at work. I don't use it for fun though. So David M says, so like instances. So yeah, that is what I'm talking about. Actually, now that I think about it, no, it wouldn't necessarily be instances. I guess if you would have like way too many people trying to go into the same world, maybe I would create another instance of that same world. But for the most part, I guess they're kind of instances, but you only ever have one instance of each world for the most part. But yeah, the idea that the individual worlds, remember that node map with the star-looking things earlier? The idea that those worlds are just kind of small and completely separated from each other. Like, an entity can't go to another world without, like, clearly warping and, like, telling the server you're warping to a different world. But, like, the enemies and stuff can't go between those worlds. So having those clearly separated things works really well with splitting it up across different servers. And I'm designing the game for that. There is kind of one choke point in terms of scalability if I deal with like tens of thousands of users, and that is that there's one database. Although the amount of data flow shouldn't be too much, and I've actually got another project. It's not game development quite, it's along those lines, but not really. But I have like over 10,000 users on that, and I'll have like several like requests every single second coming in for changes to the database and stuff. So I've already kind of dealt with stuff on that scale for handling a database. So just from a variety of backgrounds, I have a fair amount of experience with this type of thing. I just kind of need to bring it all together. What is today's plan? Today's plan is this to-do list, so you can also read the description for a little bit more information. I just want to do these two things today. It maybe I'm gonna swap these. Maybe these three things. Yeah, so movement mechanics, inventory, guns, projectiles. Projectiles will be interesting. I'm specifically the way that projectiles work with enemies. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it yet. I have a couple ideas. The tricky part is I'm trying to deal with TCP latency, which is a lot worse than UDP latency, plus the fact that I'm dealing with people that are actually on the other side of the world. Like, there are tons of people from India that's like almost the opposite side of the world from me, well, from my server, and the ping is atrocious. What is it? It's like over 200 or something. I don't know. It's pretty bad. But you add on top of that the TCP overhead, because I'm not using UDP, and you get some severe latency. But I'm going to try to design the game and the netcode in such a way that that can all work and everyone can be on one server. It's going to be a bit tricky, but I have some solid ideas for that. If not, there are some sloppier solutions I can put in place, or I can actually just set up other servers. But for the most part, I think people playing from India would be used to the idea that their experience in online games is going to be a little bit janky, because I don't think like any regional servers are really set up near India for like major games. Like I don't know, maybe people in India tend to play different games, but like for example, I don't think League of Legends has an India server. I know there's a China server, and there's like a Middle East server, but there's nothing in India directly. But can you defeat bosses faster with cheats? Welcome Puppy says. So you can marginally. So the server will compute kind of, I think I'll do some kind of client-side registration on projectile collisions, and that's one of my ideas for fighting bosses and stuff. Well, just fighting enemies. Because if the enemy is moving around, it'll feel really weird for those players with 300 ping when they shoot a boss or an enemy, and their projectile hits the enemy on their screen, but the server disagrees because there's a 300 millisecond delay or something. So I'm thinking about just taking the client's data, which means you could technically hack to make all your shots hit, but the server would know how many shots you're able to make. Like, just the server knows when you can take shots and how many shots you can take, how much damage you can do. So the most you would be able to do in theory is just pretty much hack to make it so that all your shots hit. And that's with that specific setup. And if you think about it, if the enemy's not moving too fast, that's not a huge advantage because, I mean, it's not hard to hold your mouse over something. It may be a little bit difficult when you're dodging projectiles and stuff, but that's not meant to be the difficult part of combat. The difficult part is just dodging stuff, but because your damage rate is going to be the same as other players, it doesn't really affect the experience for other players that much. It just makes it boring for yourself. But yeah, something you will definitely be able to do is dodge pretty much everything by hacking, which 1 is easy to catch from a player's perspective, and 2 doesn't really hurt the experience for other players other than maybe it's frustrating to look at. Is this a 2D MMO? Yes. Would you recommend a Punctuators games? It depends. If you're talking about like Python, Pygame stuff, it depends. I would say don't do it unless you really, 1, know what you're doing, and 2, you really think you need that extra graphical oomph. Just reading chat. What is the tree structure for my files? It's pretty much just like configuration, fonts, images, it's just all the assets. Scripts, this is all the code. And it's just broken down into different sections. Like assets contains a bunch of asset related scripts, entities contains entity related scripts, networking has networking stuff, stuff like that. And then on top of that, I use like a node system so that I can access anything from anywhere. So like if you look in entities, I reference the window and the world. So everything's just kind of interconnected. Any good practice to keep code clean and understandable? I actually don't care about that a whole lot. As long as I can read it, I'm happy with it, because I don't work with people. So I don't really have huge tips on that. I do have some strategies I use just inherently to make the code easy to work with, in general, but that's more structural, rather than formatting. Why did I choose Python for this? Actually, believe it or not, Python is one of the better languages for, well, okay, it depends on what type of networking you're doing, but a lot of networking types of things, Python's pretty good. It's just like, writing the logic for it can be pretty quick, and then, just with things like decorators and stuff, like you can see in here, I mean, there's just a couple lines for, handling these networking calls. It's really easy. There's a reason why EVE Online does use Python. It's just that there's not a whole lot of people that are experienced with using Python for networking. It's kind of an obscure use case. But also, I mean, it's just the language I use. How can you find the game behind my screen? That's Gleamshroom, but the artwork for this game is based off of Gleamshroom, so it's actually... I actually just straight up took the same assets and I'm reusing them. So, these are the Gleamshroom assets, so it lines up with what's behind, in the background for me on the stream. But if you look up Gleamshroom, one of my games, it's got the same assets. I just reused the environment for the MMO because this is probably the best looking environment I've got. So I just wanted to reuse it. Have I worked with Java? Yes, I have, but very minimally. I'm not sure why your pixel art on Pygame would be blurry. That's like, just That's more of a Unity problem and like a game engine problem. On Pygame, it should be pretty much straight up unless you're scaling it for some reason, or unless you're saving it as a JPEG. What are the libraries used for the online stuff? Literally just sockets. I wrote my own networking library. Here, I can show you. Where is it? Here's my client. I can actually show you the server too. I wrote this networking client. It's all JSON. It can handle batch requests and stuff, so I can send like 1,000 requests and it can send it across in one shot and have the server deal with all of them at once. And it's pretty good, I think. So the way it's structured is actually very similar to Flask if you worked with that, but that's for like websites. The thing is, it needs to be faster than Flask, so I had to do some special stuff there. Yeah, so it's basically like using Flask, but it's faster and it uses sockets. Well, actually, Flask probably uses sockets as well. It just has to meet some certain protocol requirements. But mine just sends across plain JSON. Just kind of goes through a loop. It looks at to see if there's any requests, and it sends requests, waits for response, and calls the callback function with the response data. The server is pretty similar. It just calls the waits for responses, calls the endpoint for their specific request, sends back the response, and that's that. And it runs in a loop. There's some weird stuff I have to do to deal with the fact that I'm dealing with sockets. Because you have to deal with the fact you get your data in packets. It's not necessarily guaranteed to be together. Lots of stuff can happen. Although because I'm using TCP instead of UDP, I do have some guarantees. Which makes things a bit easier. Do you think you could learn to make video games from scratch by following my videos, or is my content more for people already into game development? I have both. It's actually, I would say, the middle part where you're not a beginner and you're not really super experienced, where my content's a bit lacking. Although I do want to rework my Pygame tutorial series because it's kind of old and I can do it better now. Because like, what did I make? I made it like, it started like 4 years ago or something? I don't know. So I could do a lot better now. Because now I've been programming for what, 9 years? I'm actually about to hit 9 years exactly. Wait, what is it? Hold on, I'm trying to remember the exact date. It's the anniversary of when Super Potato Bread released. Let's see here. So I made this game a while back, and I released it on the same day I started learning to code, but many years after. So it's September 19th. So we are 14 days out, so exactly 2 weeks from me reaching coding for 9 years with Python. Getting close to a decade. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna read a couple more and then I really need to get started on the coding part. Do you handle your own memory? Do you access the screen directly like people do in C++ do, or use library or package for that? I'm using Pygame, which is a wrapper for SDL. So actually a lot of people use C++ are using SDL or OpenGL. If you're using SDL, that's pretty much the same thing as what I'm doing. It's just C++, so it's more code. There is not going to be any PvP. I think I explained the tree movement in a video, maybe? I don't remember. Can you mix languages? It depends on what language it is, what languages you're talking about. Like, for example, C and Python are meant to mix. Like, a lot of the stuff, like, for example, the socket library I'm using for networking, is written in C. And a lot of built-in functions and libraries and stuff are written in C, and C is meant to work with Python because Python interpreter is written in C, or at least the default Python interpreter is. But Some languages don't mix as well together, like Python and C#. Yeah. Is Pygame compatible with other operating systems? Yes, it is. Actually, one of the advantages of Pygame used to be that it was very compatible with other operating systems, and like it could run on almost anything. And that's because SDL was maintained in such a way that it should be able to run on almost anything. The thing is once you get to consoles, the consoles can technically run Pygame. The problem is that a lot of times the manufacturers, or like the company that makes the console, will give you development kits specifically for a specific engine. So even if you could make your game run on that hardware, it doesn't mean that the company wants to support it. So like, for example, if I were going to release on the Switch, Nintendo probably wouldn't be happy that I'm not using their development kit and I'm trying to get it. Like, like they don't make it very easy for you to do. And I don't know if they'd even let you do it. But in theory, it should run, I think. Like I think I've actually seen evidence of that. Like, I think people have gotten SDL games to run on the Switch, so it is possible. It's just like Nintendo doesn't really like that. But yeah, like for example, you can do it on phones and stuff. Yes, I am actually making a multiplayer game. What language is mixed with C#? I have no idea. I think it's just C#. I think most of the time languages don't really mix that well. Python, I think, is an unusual case, and it takes advantage of the fact that the interpreter is written in C. Well, a good modern example is that Google's new language, Carbon, I think, mixes with C++. I think C++ also mixes with C, maybe, but it gets funky. Alright, time to actually write some code here. So, wall sticking and jumping. So the way this is going to work is that if you're running into a wall, you shouldn't be falling. And this is a really simple thing to implement, and because I don't have anti-cheat yet, and the anti-cheat will actually pretty much just be a cap on your movement speed pretty much, because I don't want to get too in-depth in tracking the player's inputs. But because I'm not too worried about that stuff, oh, that's another thing hackers will be able to do. They'll be able to fly around, but not super fast. Although there'll be tons of items that will effectively let you do the same thing anyways, so it wouldn't be a huge advantage, except maybe early on. Anyways, yeah, so if I'm walking into a wall, I shouldn't be falling. That's the simple idea. So I can go over to the player entity, probably. I guess this goes for other players as well, right? Or no, there's no gravity on the thing, never mind. Just this one. The other player is just kind of playing back through a list of positions and interpolating between them. So here's the movement code. So all I have to do here, let's see, what would it be? Where is the movement handled? Here's the lash motion. Where does it move? It might be in the super. So it could be under here. Hold on, I need to close all these scripts. I don't need to get ignore either. So I believe... Where's the update? That's just the animation. Where... Oh, this comes from living entity. This thing literally just applies grass forces. That's funny. So I'm not sure where this physics is coming from. Oh, here it is. I missed it. I'm kind of blind, I guess. So right here we have our movement physics. So it takes the frame motion and the tiles around it and looks for collisions. So what we need to do here... Ooh. I need to do... So sticking is interesting because theoretically, if I have a frame rate that's really high and you're moving less than a pixel per frame, you won't be like colliding with the wall every single frame, which can be a minor issue. What I can do is remember like how long it's been since I've touched the wall, and that's another way to do it. I might have to implement that, but for now I'm going to just look at if I've collided horizontally, which is just this. All I have to do, stop the player from falling. Or wait, hold on, no. If self.velocity. Actually I need to make sure the player is actually attempting to move. So what I'll do here, self.h movement, so horizontal movement equals false, and I'll set it to like false right here, and then over here I'll set it to true. Actually wait, I can just reference frame motion, can't I? Yeah, I can just reference frame motion. I don't need that. Oh, we didn't need to zoom. Actually, it's helpful for you though. So I'll remove this, and I can just look at this frame motion variable, which is how much I'm attempting to move in the frame, not necessarily how much I did. So all I have to do is do if frame motion 0 on the x-axis is does not equal 0, then I'm attempting to move either right or left. Oh wait, actually no, the problem there is if I implement knockback, I think that goes, yeah, it's generated from the velocity, which means that, yeah, never mind, I do need that variable again. Back and forth here. So let's take that, and let's go over here, and we set it to true. And then over here, this needs to be false. So now I can do if self.h movement, then you no longer false. So let's see if this works. It's generating the map, that's why you've got a black screen right now. So theoretically, well, it doesn't want to let me go up. I can like, I'm like sliding down very slowly. That's actually kind of okay. So one problem is that if I jump, it's like making me stick a little bit too much. So I don't like that quite. I want to be able to go up. So if that and self.velocity 1 is greater than 0, then you do that. So now if I run the game, it takes a bit every time I run it because it has to generate this massive world, and it runs through this weird iterative process where if it finds that the world is invalid, it'll just go to the next. It has like a sequence it goes through that's deterministic, but specifically this world has it has to go through 3 invalid worlds before it finds a valid one. So it's actually generating 4 of these worlds before it gets to letting me play. Let me find a wall to stick to though. So here we go. I can stick to that and I can jump. So I'm sliding a little bit, but that's something I can fix. Well, that's the other thing though. Do I want to leave the sliding or do I want to keep it? Because the sliding, it's kind of cool as a mechanic. I don't know. So the idea is that you recharge your jumps while you're stuck to the wall. So maybe it should be stationary, just because the whole idea is that you need to be able to get out of pits and stuff. Specifically, you could get stuck in a spot like this, and then you'd have to, you'll probably get like 2 jumps. the movement's gonna be tricky. So you get like 2 jumps, and you'll be able to like drop and do one of your jumps. So you can like, for example, like this, you go drop, jump, jump. Oh, and then I missed. So you drop, jump, jump. I can't, man. drop, jump, jump, drop, jump, drop, jump. You'll be able to build ladders as well, but I want people to be able to get out of most pits without building ladders. So it's a bit tricky. Yeah. So it's navigatable, so it's acceptable in my opinion. Yeah, you can climb a wall like that. But when you get to a place like this, where you got a flat roof, there's not a whole lot you can do, which is my concern. It's just a tricky situation where I don't want people to be building ladders everywhere, because then the world becomes a mess. But I do want people to get out of pits, but I don't want people to just be flying around as the main movement, because then what's the point of it being a platformer? So like specifically situations like this where you got a long flat roof, there's no way for me to go left and up and around here. There may be like a way if I go like over here. I can actually just jump infinitely right now, but I'm trying to not. Like you wouldn't be able to reach that. You would be able to go this way, I guess, which is, yeah, you'd be able to make it up this way. Oh, this is cut off anyways, you can't get there. Yeah, you can't get around that way. Interesting. Let's see, can I get up this, maybe? I don't think... No, I can't even reach anything to grab onto. But yeah, so you'll be able to destroy probably trees like this with a machete. You'll get some wood and you'll be able to build ladders. I want to make it so that in most cases you can get out, so you don't have to just be stuck. I'll probably implement a suicide feature so you can just die and go back to the spawn in case you do actually get stuck. Alternatively, you could ask someone to come and help you, but for the most part, you should be carrying ladders on you. It's just that when you're getting started, like in your very first roll, I don't want people to just get in a pit and be instantly stuck. They should be able to climb out of it in most cases without ladders. Alternatively, I could leave ladders in the starting inventory, but you could also run out and just not bother to craft more. Yeah. Anyways, I do want to stop the player from just kind of sliding down. So what I have to do here is self.wallStick equals false. And all I have to do is if this occurs, wallStick equals true. And then over in the this part, I can do if 0 if self.wallStick else that. So now I shouldn't be sliding down slowly on these walls. Yeah, see, look, I'm sticking perfectly there. No sliding. Oh, I forgot. I do have to set that to false. So I was just floating there. Well, let's set this to false. Right about here. Oh, no, it can't be there. It has to be between where the velocity is used with the wall stick and the collision. So probably like right here. Actually, I can do it right here. This is better. Right here. So from here, I should have it working properly. So no sliding, and then I should also be able to detach from the wall. So I'm not sliding, and if I let go, I drop, which is exactly what I want. Wait, why am I sliding on that wall? Hold on, does it only... Does it only slide on the right walls? What? That's so strange. What happened there? Did I do a little bit of... I am confused. Well, let's print this out and see what's happening. Or, no, print a stick. Do I have time imported here? Whatever, I don't. Let's just use the next best thing. Self.node window.master clock. So I'm going to see console output. You guys can't see it, but I can. So if I stick normally, oh, I forgot that the player does not have access to the node tree, so I have to do this RT. It's not even RT.node window. Is the way my node tree works is a bit funky. So I can see that it's telling me when it's trying to stick. So let's try something where I'm sliding and I'll see what happens here. So it says it's sticking. I am a little bit confused. So you can see down here now. It's saying stick and it's got timestamps and stuff. And let's see here. I'm trying to think of why this wouldn't be working. If wall stick. It's very confusing. Well, let's try this instead. So instead of printing it when I'm sticking, let's print the state of wall stick. I'll read chat in a moment once I figure out what's going on here. So right now it's telling me, you guys can't see it again, but it's telling me that I'm not sticking. It's telling me I am sticking, and every single frame is sticking. Now it's flipping between true and false, which is kind of what I suspected, but the question is why? And it may have to do with my frame rate. Like I said, if you move less than a pixel per second, then it won't register that I'm hitting the wall. And it might have something to do with the way numbers work and integer math. So here's what I'm gonna do. Wall stick equals 0.2 1.5. Let's do with that. Wall stick up here. Oh, actually, no, it shouldn't be there. It does need to be down here. Equals max 0 self.wall stick minus. Do I have DT? DT. Cool. Now, wall stick will remain true for a couple frames rather than just one, which theoretically means that I should stop sliding on the right walls. Let's see. I think I just did it there and it's fine. Hold on. No more sliding. Cool. So the next thing to do is to keep track of. It feels a little bit clunky. I think that the time on the stick's a bit long. So let's chop it down to 1/10 of a second. The next thing we will have to do is make it so that when I jump on a wall, it actually makes me jump away from the wall, because that's a fun mechanic. I'll read chat real quick though, but only like the last 30 messages, because I can't keep up with everything. Because as you saw earlier in the stream, when I keep up with the chat, it takes all my time. Suicide feature, yes. When is my Udemy course coming out? Hopefully this year. There's some stuff I want to do with my YouTube channel first before I release it, so I'm kind of held up on a couple things. Does Pygame use a lot of CPU? Yes and no. It uses one core usually, and that one core usually will be maxed out pretty much. How to make a wireframe box? That's just trig function. So if you look at a sine wave, it goes up and down in a smooth motion. It represents well, it represents a lot of stuff, but it can be used to represent a circular motion in 3D space. So if you map something to a sine wave, it looks like it's spinning in a circle. And if you offset it, you put 4 points, you connect them into a polygon. You make a polygon of 4 points, and you offset the points on one axis by the sine wave of the time, and the input to the sine wave is offsetted for each of those points by 1/4 of a full cycle, which is pi over 2. You will get a spinning spinning rectangle, or spinning square, actually. Actually, if you just do the x-axis, it'll look like a weird line spinning or something. But to get the full effect, you'll have to do some offsets to the other axes as well. But that's the beginning of how you get that. It's interesting. You can do a lot of cool stuff with sine waves. Will I be using Atom when it shuts down? I don't know. I don't know when it... Didn't the support already stop? I mean, it's not like it's got servers or something where it has to be... Or maybe, actually, I don't know if the packages are hosted on their servers or what. If the packages are hosted on the server, that'll be a problem. And the other thing is that I use tab 9, which will probably stop being supported soon. So I would have to probably switch. But it's been good so far. How long have I been making this game? Technically I was working on it in March. I just, I did one playtest in March. I just had movement. I didn't even have the world set up. It was just like 2 tiles. There wasn't any lighting or trees or grass or anything. I went to playtest in March, and then I didn't work on it until last week or something. I don't know. And this is a project to do whenever I feel like it. I'm not like on any kind of schedule with this one. Yeah. So technically the answer is I've been making this game for 6 months, but the full answer is I've been making this game for, well, I've only put like, what, 30 hours in this game? I don't know. What do you use to track my face? It's media pipe. Anyways, jumping stuff. Where's the player? So where's the jumping code? Here it is. So all I have to do here is if self.h movement. Ooh, you know what the h movement should be? I had an idea. It should be 0, and it becomes 1 if you're going right, and -1 if you're going left. That results in some cool stuff. So -1 technically evaluates to true. So I set this to 0. So I have the direction and whether or not I am moving horizontally. So the old code still works for this section here. But now I can go here and be like self.velocity 0 equals self.h movement by 300. Or wait, no, that needs to be down here. If self.wall stick, then I do this. I think that's correct. So theoretically, if I'm on a wall now, I should be jumping. We will see. So, well, sorry, no, not. I should be jumping to the side. I forget half my words when I'm doing this. That didn't work. Oh, you know why? Velocity 0. Oh, and this is added straight to the frame motion. What? Velocity 0 is never adjusted. What? But, I'm gonna print this out. Velocity 0. I should just print it out here. See what's happening to it. It's not triggering, which is interesting. So self.wallStick. I'm a little bit confused here because it should be triggering. I mean, I saw it trigger. Well, so it's true. You guys can't see it. I can. I press space. Okay, let's just go back here. Print boop. I need to switch to a different seed. This one takes so long to load. So it called the code. I'm wondering if there's some code somewhere that's forcing the horizontal velocity to be 0. Oh, I'm stupid. I am, because this. Oh, and the other thing is, this is backwards. This needs to be like that. Maybe with that. Let's see. Okay, interesting. So change the velocity here. And what I'll do here is if self.velocity 0 print frame motion. Actually, I'm gonna go to right here where I can really see what's happening. What? If wall stick is true, oh. Wait a second. I did an oopsie, that would be right about, where is it? Where is the... This is not correct. Wait, no, maybe it is correct. So I'm gonna have to do here. I'm gonna try a little bit of a hack. So the problem is this doesn't stay because of the whole frame issue. It switches to 0 and it doesn't go back to 1 for a while because it takes multiple frames to move a pixel. So I'm going to do if actually if wall stick, or rather if not wall stick. I didn't fully think out the logic here. This might not work. Simple stuff like wall jumps can become a lot more complicated when you start throwing in DT. Who joined? Oh. Well, you guys are seeing the multiplayer part right here. This is 804. He was in the playtest. That's funny. Alright, is he in the chat? I don't know what... Oh, boy. So the wall jump works, apparently. That's not quite what I had in mind. Yeah, that the horizontal velocity doesn't normalize. 804, are you watching the stream? You guys can't really see the chat that well because the music thing's covering it, but Walking Puppy, I know you were in the playtest. I don't know who you are, but in Discord. Alright, 804 says he's gonna leave. You're Turtle? Okay. I was not expecting that profile picture. But I mean, you can join if you want. You might get some funky stuff later on. Anyways. Okay. There's 804. My code's too clean? What? Alright. So, I have to get the horizontal velocity to normalize. For that, I'm going to add a function to my utilities code. I think it's in miscellaneous. Should it be geoutil? I don't know if it's fair to throw this under. I'll throw it in miscellaneous, maybe? Nah. I'll put it under geo. So let's do def normalize value amount 2 equals 0. So if val is greater than wait greater than 2, if greater than 2 plus amount. I don't want to type all of amount, so I'm just going to do AMT. If the value is greater than 2 plus amount, value minus equals amount. If value is less than 2 minus amount, value plus equals amount. Else val equals 2, return val. So this is just a function for linearly, like, moving a value towards another value, and a nice way where it can lock to it. So self.velocity 0 equals normalize, and you put in itself. Default is it goes to 0, which is perfectly fine. And let's take dt by 300. So 300. So the number for velocity is like how many pixels per second, technically. So you can think of it as decelerating at 300 pixels per second, the way I'm normalizing this here, which is a weird. Or no, it's 300 pixels squared per second, technically, isn't it? I believe. Wait. Something like that. Physics is funny. Anyways, I do need to import this normalize function. So from data.scripts.misc.geoutil import normalize, and then now it should normalize. It should take 1 second to return my horizontal velocity to normal after a jump. Yep. So I don't just go forever. I think it should go faster. So let's do 800. I just want a quick bounce, kinda. Okay, I'm bouncing so much more horizontally than it goes vertically. Why? I could go flat for a while, and then it goes up. Is it just me, or is it actually just level? Hold on, I can do this. Yes, I'm straight up going horizontal, and then I curve upwards. I'm very curious as to what is causing that. Actually, I technically have the console here. I'm going to restart it, do one jump, and I'm going to watch the vertical velocity. This is very interesting. So do one jump, and I can look down here. This is so weird. It sits at 0, and it goes like... It like ramps up to that. And then it... What even happened here? The second value is the horizontal, vertical velocity. So it goes up to negative 1.4, and then it starts going back to 0. But it has this one value right here where it goes half. Oh right, because it's multiplied by dt. So it looks funky like that. So like if there must have been a frame rate drop right there for some reason. Interesting. Let's go over to player again. And I can remove this code, because I have a rough idea of what's happening now. So the problem is that it was sitting at 0 for the first few frames, or many frames, as you can see here. And I need to figure out why that's happening, because that should not be happening. If you look at the jump code, velocity 1 equals negative 300. Oh, this is why, wall stick. Self.wall stick equals false. Problem solved. I can almost guarantee it. I'll read chat in a moment again. Here we go. That's what I'm looking for. So you stick to a wall, you can jump like that, or you can drop and jump. But it's important that I can get enough horizontal movement that I can get up over a corner ledge like that. Alright. I'm gonna read chat again. What? What's going on here? What happened in the chat here? Where... Interesting conversation in the chat we've got there. For newbies who want to get into making games in Python, where do you start? If you haven't learned Python, learn Python. If you know Python, learn Pygame. That's kind of how it is. And then from there, you look for specific tutorials. Why am I not using Unity? I'm slower with Unity. Are you supposed to slide down slowly while you're hugging a wall? In most games you would. In this one, I'm going with no, actually. For now, at least. I might experiment with it later. But for the time being, no. I mean, I can implement it. It's really easy. All I have to do is, right here. Put that at 100. I think that's it. Let's see. So I can... No, that wasn't it. I thought that was it. That was not it. Anyways, but yeah, it wouldn't be hard for me to implement. I'm not sure why exactly that didn't work, but whatever. Probably something somewhere else. They're doing funky stuff. 100 might have also just not been enough velocity. Have I tried web dev? I've done a lot of web development. Both, I've done it for school, work, personal projects, all sorts of stuff. Alright. Still waiting. Did I ever have to code something in C to improve performance for a game, or use any other library other than NumPy? So I want to do some water stuff. So simulating the surface of water. It looks really cool. I did that. If you look at my devlog series, I did that. But it doesn't run very well in Python if you write the surface simulation code in Python. I was considering writing it in C, but then you get some portability problems where it has to work. I think you have to do some different setup stuff, like you compile it differently for Windows and Linux. So it just adds more overhead to the packaging process. So I'm like, nah, I'm just not gonna do that. It's doable. You can write it in C, and I just didn't really bother going that far because I didn't want to deal with how that affects packaging. Yeah. As for using other libraries though, I'll use in built-in functions a ton to make things go faster. Trying to think of a good example in here. I mean, Pygame itself is written in C because of STL. Sort of. Well, STL is written in C, and Python's, I think, a mix. I think it's got some Python. Yeah, Pygame's got some Python parts, and it's got some parts written in C. But, yeah. Although I did actually use where is it? So if you remember that spinning stars thing, where is it? Right, here's the 3D rendering code. Where is it? I'm looking for. There's a part where I do matrix rotations. Oh wait, no, I think that's in my utility functions. Is it? Or no, it isn't. Okay, I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's the put it. Didn't it have like a 3D utility functions thing? I thought I did. I can't find it now. Maybe it's under visual effects? Okay, wait. Hold on. I'll find it. Where is it? Oh, it's under. No, that's distance. Oh, it's under VFX. Why did I put it there? Here we go. I use matrices for rotations with NumPy, but you did say other than NumPy, but I use NumPy to do some calculations faster. That makes a lot of stuff with the 3D faster. So, yep. Are there any 3D based game making libraries in Python? There is Panda 3D and there's Ursina. Both of those are presumably decent. Disney was using Panda 3D to make some fairly big games a while back. Yeah. It's so funny when I look at the chat because of my avatar. Yeah, you can physically see me looking. It's one of the nice things too because I can look at chat, and for the most part, if you're a regular viewer, I don't even have to say I'm looking at chat. You probably can just see I'm looking at chat. When I I guess its webcam also solves that problem, but I don't want to do that, so. Anyways, alright. I'm gonna add some visual effects and some actual limit to how much I can jump. So I'm going to do self.maxJumps equals 2. Self.jumps equals 2. So there's going to be 2 ways to restore your jumps. Well, first of all, let's actually implement this limit here. So if I press jump, if self.jumps, so if you have jumps left, you can jump. Self.jumps is equal 1, you remove a jump, and then jumps will be updated here equals self.maxJumps. And then the other part is I want you to slowly regain jumps on the wall. So actually what I should be doing, since jumps will be a decimal, which sounds funky, this needs to be if that is greater than or equal to 1. So what I'm going to do is if wall stick self.jumps plus equals dt by 2, so you get, takes half, no, I'll do dt, so 1 second to get 1 jump. And I will have to implement some visual indicators to show you how many jumps you have, just because otherwise it's confusing. You don't know how long you have to wait on the wall to get your jumps back. So I can only jump twice now, which is nice. I can stick to the wall, but then from here I can jump, jump. Wait, was that a triple jump? Hold up. That was a triple jump, wasn't it? Jump. Wait. Jump. Jump. Oh. Hold on, something went funky there. Oh, you know what happened? I didn't put a cap. I could stick to the wall and get infinite jumps. So, to fix that, I'm gonna have to go over to here. And this will be equal to the minimum of self.max. Alright, wait. Self.maxJump. And self.jumps plus dt. Alright. So let's see here. So we got 1. There should be 2, I think. I'll wait a little bit longer. 1, 2, and they were good. But if you touch the ground, you immediately get them back. But like if, for example, I touch that wall, I only get that 1 jump. I can't jump and jump again that fast. So I jump, stick, wait for a moment, jump, jump. So it's working properly. Now I need to add visual indicators to this. So for that, I'm thinking I'm thinking of putting like white bars below the player that indicate how many jumps I have. So actually, let's start with 3 just for visual stuff, because I will have items to increase your max jumps. So I need to make sure it looks okay visually. So for this, I am going to should be in. The question is, does it go in the player render code or does it go in the UI? That is the question. Oh, it should be in the UI. Wait, no, maybe. Because I do have another thing, the other player entity for other players, so I could put it in the player code. But I could also put it in the UI. That is the question. So getting the player's rendering position is kind of funky, so I think I'll put it here, which is a little bit weird because it is a UI thing, but it's for the player. Let me see the render code. Oh, I don't have render code for this yet. So, let me take a look here. No, here. So this is the information I'm taking. Well, I have to calculate the position in the render function here, so I don't even have access to it in the player. So I think I will go and put it in the UI. So let's just start by drawing a line under the player in the UI. Let's go over to render here. I'll put now where do I want it layering wise actually? So this is this the usernames? Yes, this is the usernames. And then this is the warp thingy. So I think this should be under the usernames. Or no, actually I'll put it over them. Because I don't want the player's usernames blocking the jump counter thing. I think that's kind of more important. So player render position equals self.node entities.player.center. I think that's probably correct. That might be a tuple, so I'm going to turn that into a list real quick. Actually, no, that can be a tuple. That's fine. From here, pygame.draw.line. Let's put it on self.nd window.display. Make it white. We'll start at the player render position 0. How wide does this need to be? Let's do bar width equals 30 for now, minus bar width divided by 2, and then for the Y position we take that, and then we'll want to add, I don't know, 20 maybe, and then for the other side we just add the bar width, and that should give us a white bar under the player in theory. Oh yeah, I didn't think about this. I'm making a Terraria-like-ish game, and I've got Terraria music in the background. That's funny. So I forgot something here. So for this, I need to offset this by the scroll. So, player render position 0 minus equals, and that'll be I should have this here. Boop. You grab the scroll 0, and then we'll do 1. And now I should be able to see a bar, probably. Ignore the door. Okay, not ideal. Did I use int scroll or did I need to use int scroll. So I use int scroll, that should stabilize it a little bit. I might have to also take the integer of the player's center. We will see. Hopefully it doesn't jitter too much. Okay, it's not jittering, that's good. So I now have the bar under the player. Okay, I'm thinking maybe if I'm flat on the ground, it shouldn't jump you away from that. So I'm gonna go back real quick and fix this. So what I can do here is if the air timer says that I'm on the ground, which is this is the standard I've been using, I can go over to actually I can just make it not all sick. So you must be in the air for this to trigger, and self.air timer is greater than that. So now I shouldn't just like, we'll see, I shouldn't be able to run into a wall and that count is sticking. So boop, and it works like you'd expect. But I can also go down here and jump. Anyways, back to the jump thingy. So this needs to be very clearly split into number of jumps. So here's what I'm gonna do. I need to calculate the width for each jump bar. So jump bar width equals bar width divided by self.nd entities. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna take the player as self.nd entities dot player. So now I can just do a shorthand for all this stuff. Player dot jump. Wait, max jumps. That'll be my jump bar width. And then from there, jumps left equals, and this will be the math.floor of the jumps. So I do have math imported, so that's good. Now for I in range jumps left, we do this. So we start at minus bar width divided by 2. So we go here, and then we go plus jump bar width minus 1. And then we need to add I to this times jump bar width. So that goes on both ends of our line here. So plus I by, wait. Yeah. Plus I by that. I think that's correct. Maybe. We'll find out. Watch it crash. It didn't. Okay. So that worked. There should be a slight issue. I was hoping I did the alignment wrong. I wanted to give a 1 pixel gap between each bar. But I think I need to do +1 on the left side and -1 on the right instead of just minus. Wait, did I do +1 on the right? No, I did -1. Okay, that's good. But I need another +1 over here somewhere. So +1. I think this will give me the gap I'm looking for. Alright. So now you can see actually 3 separate bars down there that tell me how many jumps I've got left, which is very nice. And what I could do, I can put a gray line so you can see how much progress you have on getting your jumps back. So I can go over to here, and true. Actually, fraction jumps left equals, just take this minus, I'll call this jumps remainder. So we can draw another line. So if jumps remainder, so if that's not 0, I plus equals 1, and you can, this I variable state, like, it keeps whatever it finished at, so I can actually just use it over here, even though I'm outside of the loop. Add 1 to it, so you get to the next thing, position, and then do this whole thing again, except this time, we're going to use 100, 100, 100, or actually, rather than do that, let me grab a red color. I think red would be cool. So let's go over to active capers data, images. I should have some red I can use. Alright, you guys can't see it, but I just pulled up my sketch image and I can get a color here, which is 226 5867, and that is the color for red that's in my color palette. So let's see if I wrote that code correctly. It appears I did not. Okay. UI. Oh, and this also needs to be times jumps remainder, but that was not the issue. I don't think this was triggering. Print A. Let's see if it's actually triggering here. It's actually just not triggering. I don't. What is? This should come out to be a value. What? I don't understand what's happening there. I'm about to find out though. Okay, are you kidding me? Oh no, that's correct. I'm stupid. I need to. The only way to get a fraction of a jump left is if you stick to a wall. So, I need to go. Yeah, my code's correct. Okay. Wait a second. That's. Hold up. Am I losing jumps while I'm on the wall? So I use one jump. Okay, a couple things. Let's start with I at 0, because that is a problem. If I run out of jumps and I stick to a wall, it starts at 0. Ooh. No, actually I need to start at -1. Just notice that. This is an interesting problem. Alright. So, I mean, you can see it recharging there. And that appears to be the correct number. I don't... What did it just visually see there? Hold on. Why is the white one filling up? Oh my. Okay, wait, hold on. So the white one fills up, which is not correct at all. It should be the red one fills up and then it turns white. Let me double check this code here. Did I put the multiplier in the wrong spot? No, it's on the right end, which is correct. Goes here. Ooh. That's our problem. I think. Yes, it needs to be right here. I'm multiplying the wrong thing. Here we go. That should fix it. There might be some other problems because some other stuff seemed a little bit funky. Okay, so let's stick to this wall. Wait, that might be correct. Oh no, Alex is correct. Okay. Seems to be working. So, for the fun of it, I'm gonna give myself a ton of jumps. Let's go to here. Let's give myself 10 jumps. Let's see what this looks like. In theory, each thing should be like 2 pixels. Yeah, 2 pixels for each bar. That's funny. So I use a ton of jumps, and you can just see it very, very slowly filling up because it's a flat rate with respect to the jumps. Oh, that's funny. But like later in the game, it's gonna kind of look like that. Woo. Anyways, yeah, so realistically though, you get 2. So this is the value I want to leave it at. So you get 2 jumps. You can very clearly see the 2 jumps right there. So let's see if I can get around with these 2 jumps. So I can get up here. Oh wait, there's nothing to go to over there. Let's see if I can get to the hub on the left route here. Like for example, I can climb this wall, it just takes a while. Oh, the other thing I need to do is add the animation for sticking to a wall, and then I have to check and make sure that the animation shows for other players. And the animation isn't hard, I just need to like put the leg sideways. For example, I can stick here and get over. Easy. Cool. Let's see if I can find the hub. I don't think this is the right way. That might be a way if I were short. I do need to add crouching to the game later, so you can fit through those tiny gaps. Alright. Okay, I recognize the spot, so I can just go left here. And I'm close, yeah. You can see the arrow. I'm almost there. I'll read chat once I get to the hub. Can I get over this? Yes, I can. There's not a good pit for me to test on here. Oh yeah, I think you actually have to go under here. So I can get here. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna read chat real quick. What does what change? Huh? How do you make the lighting system? That's just blend RGBA mult, or no, RGB mult. Gleamstream's open source, you can look at it. But yeah, you just have a surface for lighting, and when you want light, you put white, the color white, and you multiply that surface with your main game surface, and the places that were default black are in, like, you can't see them. The places where you put white or gray, you can see them, and where you put gray is where you can see like halfway. So like, you can see on the edge here of the light source, it kind of fades out. That's because if, actually, hold on, I can show you. Where is it? It should be, it's either world or lighting or something. Where did I put it? It's world. Do I have a lighting? Yes, I do. All I have to do is if I take out this line, this one thing right here, this, the flag, you can see what's actually happening. This is what the lighting surface looks like. So you take this surface and you multiply it with what the game has by default, and when you multiply pure white with any other color, you get that base color, but if you multiply black, you get black. So it's like, you think of it as 0 to 1 rather than 0 to 255. Yeah. So you'll see the yellow tint on the fireflies from the yellow circles there. There's some flickering things I need to fix. Some of this is very incorrect. I do need to get around to fixing. There are several lighting bugs I just didn't bother fixing, but I'll need to fix that at some point. Anyways, let's put this back so we have our game back. Where are the player's arms? The player will be holding guns, so I don't have to draw arms. Yeah, so you add the lights to the lighting surface with RGB add. Or wait, no, maybe I might use max. I'm not sure if you use max or add. It's one of those two. And then you multiply that surface. So you use multiple different flags depending on what you're trying to do. PVE MMO. What is that? Is that a library? What's harder, 3D or lighting? 3D, definitely. So actually, for some of the fancier lighting techniques, you can do a lot of stuff with just split flags. But for some of the fancier stuff, you can try and use shaders, and that works too. But it's so much easier if you can get it done without shaders. Yeah. It also runs faster, sort of. It depends. I'm gonna check something real quick. People pinging me in Discord. Alright. So I need to add the animation for sticking to a wall, which shouldn't be hard. All I have to do is go animations, player, go new folder, player 1, and then I'll call it stick, I guess? I don't know what else to call it. I could call it wall or something. I'll take the jump one. I think it expects a black background, so let's just like, and then I can just like, all you gotta do here, put one leg up against the wall, put the other one down here like that. I don't know, I'm just gonna check real quickly where the hitboxes are. Wait, wrong file. So the hitbox is on the knee. Interesting. So I think where I'm drawing should be fine. Actually, I'm gonna reference some other pixel art I have really quick. I have another game where I had wall jumping. Let's see what I did there. So a long time ago, this was the thing. I want to check the pose I had. Oh come on! I'm jumping so fast I can't even see it. Hey, look! It's a video on my YouTube channel from a really long time ago. Here we go. What is that pose? Okay, so I had it bent with the knee. I had the knee up against the wall, and just kind of. What was that? It was like that, and this, something like that. Well, this is funky. This is a very funky shape to do. I think I'm gonna cut it off right there. I think I saw the hair goes 1 pixel past the wall, which means I'm actually gonna pull this leg actually up quite a bit higher, and then do this. I don't know. I think that's about the best I can do. So I'll take that, and then all I have to do, I think, if I remember correctly, go right here. Okay. So the sticking to wall animation overrides everything else, logically speaking. So if self.wallStick Then self.set action stick else. You do everything else. So hopefully that's correct. We're about to find out. Alright, let's see here. Why is it giving me wall stick? Well, that's a problem. It should not be triggering wall stick while I'm jumping. Hang on here. But also, what? Oh, did I not set that to loop? No, it's on loop. What? Don't I have... How did I do jump? Oh! I'm dumb. Hang on here. This goes here. So that's why I was showing that when I was jumping. Because I accidentally replaced the jump one. Good thing I have a GitHub repository for these things, because I just deleted the original artwork. Where did I put it? I have data, images, animations, boom, problem solved. That was this is a good reason to have a Git repository. Oh wait, no, I don't want to. I almost replaced the stick. There we go. So, wait a second. That's not. Hold on. I'm doing this off screen, but. Why is it? It's not copying, right? Oh, I'm stupid. I'm saving, not copying. Data, images, animations, jump, save, overwrite, yes. Alright, should be fixed, in theory. Alright, so the jump animation is back to normal. Why did I not? Oh, it generated an empty animation. Alright. Should be fine now, in theory. So, jump animations here, stick to the wall, I've got it. Okay, so... minor issue. Hold on, I think I need to copy some offsets here. So in here I have this offset, which needs to be copied to... Is this it? This is probably it. There. Alright. Let's run it again, and hopefully I won't be inside the wall. And then if this works out, I'll start up the other account. Alright, that looks correct. And then let's try this wall. Looks correct as well. But let's see if I just run into it, I'm good. I have to jump into the wall to actually get the effect. Boop. And I can recharge my jumps, and boop, boop. Okay. Time to add the other player to this. I'm gonna make a quick commit. Let's call this added wall jumping. Alright. I'm gonna read chat real quick. I'll start up this one and then I'll have to get the other one running. Whenever switch to Windows 11, I think I'll probably have to at some point. That's normally how this works. But I'm not excited to. Didn't I use different software for Pixar in the past? Yes, I use a Sprite for animations, but most of my artwork is done in MS Paint. Do I have a paid course? I'm working on one. Alright. Time to get the other client going here. Just in case the console might do something funny, I'm going to... wait. Ooh, I gotta swap this really quick to get my other user. I don't want to log in twice on the same account. So, dev start.py. I could also start it through the launcher, but that would be a problem. Alright, so I now have two windows here. You guys can only see this one. I actually have two. If I click off, you can see that I've got two windows open here. But you guys can only see my primary one. So I can say hello on my other one. If I say it enough times, you'll be able to see. Gotta spam a little bit for it to come through. But the chat's a little bit behind the music credit thing. But you can see the other player running around and stuff. So the real question here is, what does it look like when the other player steps onto the wall? Hold on, I need to go to the right here just so it's in the light and I can see it clearly. So, boop, 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 boop. So you can see the animation updated and it's sticking to the wall, and it's that easy because the netcode already transfers the animations. I can add any animation I want and it'll go with the player. So, yay. That is working now. I have been going for 2 hours. Normally I stream for about 3 hours, but due to other real life circumstances and the fact that I'm at a decent stopping point, I don't think I'm gonna add the other stuff today. I would have preferred to have gotten a bit more done. I'll probably do it in my own time, but not live. I wanted to add weapons and projectiles, but it does take longer to, first of all, kind of keep up with chat, and then also to explain what I'm doing. I can work like 3 or 4 times faster just doing it without streaming. But I do like to stream some of my work just so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm trying to think if I can do a little bit of work. I'll probably draw a weapon before I leave, just for the fun of it. Hello, Lonely Float. You're catching what is probably the last 10 minutes of the stream. How long have I been streaming? 2 hours. Well, I guess you sent that before I said it the first time. Alright. So, I'm going to draw a gun, and that will probably be it. So, let's go over to Sketch. Oh, here's some of the different player artwork. There's probably gonna be a lot more variants than this. So if you notice, actually, there's this section right here that's not in the artwork when I'm playing the game, and that's because that's going to be simulated cloth that I'm going to add. If you saw my devlog series, the original one, I had cloth physics, and I'm probably gonna add that into this just for the fun of it. So there's going to be a lot of parts that are just cloth, and I might add vines as well that are cloth. Yeah. Anyways, gun. So for a gun, what should the first gun be? Okay, my go-to, I guess, is a revolver. Wait, you know what? I'm curious. Can I just like... Here's a very nice looking revolver, or looks like... You can barely tell it's a revolver, but Yeah, I'm gonna take this real quick, and I will change the colors to fit this color palette because I am lazy. This MMO's already got a bunch of assets from my other games, so I really don't care if I'm reusing assets. So the color palette is not in here really, so I'm gonna have to go over to Gloomshroom to grab that. One moment. So here's the original Gloomshroom sketch with the original palette. So here are the colors I have to work with. I'm gonna just like copy this in real quick because I will need this later. So let's just throw that right here or something. And then for my gun, so you can clearly see some colors right here that I'll need. So there's these two colors. These are already pretty close actually. So I'm gonna need this slightly lighter brown. Is it this one? I think it's that one. That goes there. And then for the barrel, I have a couple choices here. I only have to do 2 colors. So we get probably these two, I would say. Do that. And that. It's a little bit blue, but that I don't care too much. Let's remove this outline because this game's art style does not involve an outline. This gun, by the way, is from another game I'm working on right now. It's the isometric one. Alright, so let's see how this looks on top of the player. So we take this, and we just go boop, 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 and so it looks kind of big, but that's acceptable. I may actually just straight up put an outline on it because it's visually confusing to see right there. But man, the player sprites are kind of small. I don't know. Not a whole lot I can do about that. It'll probably be like Terraria where the weapons are absolutely massive in comparison to the player. Anyways, that is the gun that I want to draw. I will actually, hold on, I'll make its folder. Active. So I'll add a weapons folder so you can at least see how I do this. So in here there's this cool trick you can do with weapons. If you want to rotate something in a circle around a specific point, it's not worth it to try and do the trig or whatever math you want to do to rotate around a specific point. Or there may be some, there's probably a way to do it without trig that I didn't bother using, but the easiest way, the worst way is to use trig because it's just not very performant, because trig functions are slow. The best way to rotate something around a point is to simply rotate around the center, but put the point you want to rotate around in the center of your image. So for example, you can see by this dot on the bottom here, it's really hard to see for you guys probably. There's a dot that marks kind of the middle. It's used in MS Paint to resize, but it's placed in the middle, so I can see where the middle of the image is. The middle comes out to the handle of the gun. Another thing I'm going to want to do is actually make this a little bit taller, so that the middle is shifted a little bit down on the handle. So the middle of the image, I'll put like a dot there so you can see it. I'll do this. So the middle of the image is like right here-ish where I'm putting this red stuff. So if you rotate this big rectangle in a circle, and you offset it so that you're rotating around the center, which is mathematically very easy to compute, and you render it, it'll look like you're rotating around the handle because the handle's the middle of the image. So it's a very useful trick for performant rotations. That's how I do all my weapons. I don't think the image needs to be this wide though, so I can just like do this. Boop. There we go. So that's good. Wait, did I already save this? If I accidentally deleted my sketch. So I'm gonna, okay, good. So now I just save this as data images. Let's go into weapons and we'll call this the revolver. There is now a revolver in 3 of my games. Alright. I'm gonna read chat real quick before ending this stream. LGTV. Is Pygame slow? I have a video about that. Anyways, so I don't see really any other questions there. If you want to know about the Pygame performance thing, I have an entire video about that, where I go fairly in depth on it, so you should check that out if you're interested. But yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here. I'm hoping to do another stream soon. It's a little bit difficult because, well, I've been in college. I was living in my own apartment, but I moved back in with my family because they moved to where my college is, which is convenient for me. It saves a lot of money. But because of that, I now have, I have to share a room, which means it makes it very hard for me to stream. So, I might be able to get, I'm hoping to get on a schedule at some point. I was hoping to do it in the summer, but that didn't work out because I didn't have anything to stream. It wasn't an availability issue. I was just not working on stuff that was really streamable. But I'm hoping to get on a schedule at some point. I'm also in a new semester as well, so it'll be tricky to work that out. So I'm getting used to that. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here.